Good afternoon, everyone. A big hello and welcome from us at Acuity, and thank you for joining us on today's Learning Lab. Today's Learning Lab, we're going to be showing you some of the new features that has been released in the final release from Sage for 2024. So we're going to look at our highlights in release for 2024. But just before we get started, I'm just going to take you through some introductions. So for those of you that don't know me, I'm Fiona. I work in the customer success team here at Acuity, and leading today's session is Johan, who is our senior Sage Intacct consultant. Just before I hand you over to Johan, I'm going to just go through some usual housekeeping. So microphones will be muted throughout today's session. However, there is a question box on the GoToWebinar panel. If you have any questions as we go through today's session, please pop them in there, and there will be the opportunity at the end of the session for you to either take yourself off mute and you can ask your questions, or if you've popped any in that question box, I will read those out at the end. Lastly, the session is being recorded today, so if you have any colleagues who are unable to make it, there will be a copy of this session emailed to you after today, and you can share that with your colleagues or revisit as you need to. Okay, that's everything from me. I'm now going to hand you over to Johan to get started. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. So like Fiona said, we're just going to look through some of the highlights that we deemed quite useful for the last release of the year. The agenda, I'll just quickly run through this because we're obviously going to go in a little bit more detail as we go on. We're going to look at the new feature that's released to reconcile customer and supplier payments. We're going to look at the enhancements of the accounts receivable statements, the expanded support for AP automation, particularly in the tax area. Now that we can also send automatic payment notifications to more than one recipient, how to add service periods on your contracts, and then we can also have that on a printed document, how to override posting dates for fixed assets, to do tax submissions for custom tax solutions, pay AP purchase invoices with an early adopter, as well as the enhancements to AP automation, particularly with purchasing and how that will work. Okay. So firstly, we're going to start by looking at how they've now enhanced the reconciliation of AP invoices to supplier payments. Essentially, what they've done is there is a matching sequence that you can set up. We set it up in an alphanumerical format, essentially helping you see what invoices have been matched to what payments or credits or whatever the case is. You'll see it's an additional permission that we can apply and assign to user permissions. And essentially, all it will do is it will give you a custom reconciliation report over here, and then the same would go for on the AP side. We'll also have a supplier reconciliation. Like I said, you can create specific matching sequences for AP and a separate one for AR. And all that will do is as soon as we've matched an invoice to a payment or a receipt, or sorry, an adjustment or advance, whatever the case is, it will then start a sequence and run through it. We can also set a particular sequence length. You'll see for AP and AR, we've got two separate matching sequences. You'll see it looks exactly like your register or your ledger rather, and similar time periods, filters, and all that will allow, like I said, show you a matching sequence to make it easier to reconcile invoices and payments on the system. Okay, if we head back here, so I'm just going to squeak through these two quickly. Then something that we found is quite nice and a good enhancement is the running balance on suppliers or customer statements rather. It will allow us then to, when you've got an invoice and a payment, have a running total and a more insightful view into what is the current balance or how impact a payment or an invoice has on a customer balance. What they've also added in is the currency symbols here at the bottom by default, which will also then obviously makes for a little bit easier reading on the statements. Okay. Then after that, what we've got is the expanded support for AP automation for companies using a taxes application. So the nice thing with AP automation and PO automation, which is now an early adopter, which we'll look at the end, but the AP automation essentially has a global brain, if I can put it that way. So meaning that anybody that uses API automation contributes to the learning of the AI. So you basically, as soon as you sign up, you get the benefit of everybody using it, which will make your experience with it a lot easier. So you'll see here we've got a 1, 2, 3, and 4. Number 1 is just it picks up or it predicts, because of your location that you've got and there's taxes assigned to that particular entity, it will then predict what the tax solution will be for this particular invoice. It can also pick up at some point where it is inclusive of taxes, if you want to, or if the system starts learning that it can do that. It will also apply or put in the transaction tax due. All the user will need to do is add the particular tax detail for this particular transaction. So again, this is something that is continuously learning and will keep getting better the more and more it gets used. Then what we've got next is the sending of automatic payment notifications. So you'll see I've got just a quick example here. It's a tick box on the configuration, and it's creating a pay to contact different to that as the normal supplier contact. All that will do is when we send automatic payment notifications, again, that's a tick box on the supplier record. It will send the payment notification to the main contact as well as the pay to contact on the supplier. That just making it easier for more than one person to receive that payment notification if that is required. Setup on that's pretty quick, pretty easy. And like I say, all we need to do is have a tick box and assign a different pay to contact with a different email address to suppliers, and then have that automatically be sent to suppliers. Okay. Then what we've got next is adding service periods to contracts. This is quite a useful feature because it will allow customers, when receiving an invoice based on contract billing, that they'll be able to see what is the period that they are being billed for. You can see in this example, we've got a scheduled billing date of the 1st, and you can see what that period is running for. Like I said, this not only puts it on our system for us to view it, but it also allows us to put it on to invoices and allowing customers to have a better insight of what is the period that they are being billed for. Okay. Then another good feature that's come across is the overriding of GL or posting dates for fixed assets. So what this will allow you to do is, obviously with your fixed assets, you've got a standard end of the month scheduled posting that happens, but things change, things happen. Sometimes you'll need to override a posting date for your depreciation. Now you can see there's obviously a couple of prerequisites that would allow this. It needs to be in an open period. It needs to be on or after the first unposted entry scheduled posting date in each of the schedules, and it needs to be in or on before the next unposted schedule entry date for each schedule. Now, if I quickly go into Intacct, if we go over here, getting to the fixed assets depreciation, we go fixed asset management, post depreciation. Now you'll see what also happens is it will, if I quickly remove a filter here, let's just go to the asset ID. If you have changed the posting date on a particular schedule, let's just quickly add in this column for us. So let's find the actual posting date, add that in, and then we will see if I move this over here, we will see that this was our scheduled posting date and this is our actual posting date. Now, how do you do that? You select the depreciation schedule that you want to post, click on post depreciation, then you've got this tick box over here. If you select that, you'll get the option to get a new posting date, and all you need to do is change the date to what you wanted. Again, needs to be in an open period and also on or after the scheduled date. So I can't go and post this on the 30th. It will give me an error. Okay. Again, we can go and check various different things, bulk runs and stuff like that. But the nice thing with this is it will keep track of what was our scheduled and what is our actual posting date. Okay, heading back. Tax submissions for custom tax solutions. Now this in my opinion, is quite a good feature, because this will allow customers with custom tax solutions, where in the past we couldn't really do much in terms of assisting with the filing, but there's a new tax submission workflow that streamlines the tax filing process. It will also assist with running reports and extracting data that's needed for filing. And after you complete your manual submission, you can mark the submitted transactions as filed. Again, just having that track on Intacct. As you can see here, nice and big on the screen for us, it's an early adopter. Now, you might not want to find out how you sign up for the early adopter. So if I quickly drag this across for us, you'll see again with the release notes what we've got. If we scroll down over here, it gives a little bit of an explanation onto what is the early adopter program. And obviously, if this is something that would be useful for you, feel free to go into it and also reach out to us. Then we can assist with getting you signed up. But essentially, you'll need to sign up on here. This will open up a survey or a separate screen where you can fill in some information, and that will then assist in the process of getting you onto the early adopter phase for a particular release. Again, custom tax solutions, this will now start assisting with the filing of taxes on custom tax solutions. Okay. Then next, again, early adopter, what we've got is paying of AP purchase invoices enhancements. Again, I think this is a great feature because this will assist with more detailed or filtered ways of doing payment runs. There's a higher capacity of bill processing, easier ways to drill down into the credits, and there's also the ability to sort and filter particular columns. Okay. Now, what we've got on here on number one is we can load up to 5,000 invoices to pay at a time. There's a filter to sort AP invoices and APs by AP purchase invoice numbers and due date, as you can see that over here. And then it also makes it easier to drill down into credits that are available for particular suppliers on the system. Then here at the bottom, again, just making it easier to apply credits, giving better visibility onto what is the credit that I'm applying to what invoice. We can see over here, it's regularly process over 1,000 invoices to a single supplier and merge payments to an outbox to combine them. So a person can go and prepare the payments, save it to an outbox, and then someone can go and review it and actually post those payments. You can also, like I said, selectively apply supply credits to payments and search through many available credits, making it easier to find particular credits relevant to particular invoices. And it refines the list of invoices you want to pay on the fly, making it easier. Payment runs, not sifting through a lot of information, but again, like I said, either filtering for particular departments where you've run or created credits or a particular location or a credit date, as we can see over there. Okay, then enhancements to AP automation with purchasing. Sage Intacct now creates a vendor invoice in draft status when it sees a existing purchase transactions with the automated purchase transactions and document matching. Essentially, when you've got a PO in the system, you've uploaded your supplier invoice, Intacct will read the information in that invoice, the PO number, and want to match it to that particular invoice or PO rather on the system. Now, there's flexibility in terms of how it works. You can change the particular transaction you want to link it to. You can drill down into the matching documents, making it easier to see if the correct document has been matched. It will also allow you to change the workflow at a later stage, where at a previous stage there was a particular workflow that had to be run in terms of this PO automation, but now the Intacct, it assists with a standard workflow that comes with Sage Intacct as well. It also doesn't require top-level mapping anymore. We can do entity-specific mapping for this type of transactions now as well. Okay. It also gives you the ability to do line level matching, to change the line level matching to get, again, easier and better granularity in terms of what is being matched and how does it work. And this is an early adopter phase. So like I showed earlier, where if we would like to go into, if you'd like to sign up for it, like I showed you, more than welcome to. I think it's a useful thing. And especially with the PO in AP automation, it makes it easier to get on board early, and you start getting that benefit of all the learning that happens with all the AP automation. Okay. And that's, I know we ran through that quite quickly, but I think that was quite a nice high level of information. I think, Fiona, can I hand over back to you there? See if we've got any questions.
Thanks, Johan. Yeah, that was a great session. Thank you. If we will open up for questions now, so if you do have any, take yourself off mute and you can ask them away. I will just go in and check the question box and read out any that's in there. Okay, there's none in there at the moment. I'm just going to give it a moment for any to come through. Okay, it doesn't look like there is any at the moment, but if you do have any questions that come to you after today's session, then please do feel free to reach out to myself and we can get back to you on any questions raised. If you just pop to the next slide there, Johan, on there. Okay, yeah, I thought this might be the case. I forgot to update this last slide, sorry. So this Claudia's email address is on the screen right now. So if you do have any questions or suggestions for future topics, then please, you can either reach out to Claudia, or my email address is fiona@acuity24.com, or you can contact our support desk. And any of those methods will get back to me. We appreciate any feedback or suggestions for future topics, and if you do have any questions raised from today. Our next learning lab is going to also be on the 12th of December, where we will be going through preparing for year end. There will be an invite for that session coming out to you shortly, so please do keep a lookout for that. However, you can contact me if you haven't received that by the end of next week. I think that's everything from us today. So thank you, Johan, so much for putting that session on for us. We hope you've all enjoyed and found the session useful, and we look forward to seeing you on the next one. Thanks, everybody. Bye.